Hello everybody and welcome back to our Love2D Pong series. Now in part 1 we set up the paddles, the ball and we drew those paddles and the ball on our game window. But since the content felt a bit short, I also included the logic for movement of the paddles for player 1 and player 2. And today in part 2 we'll make the game come alive by including these features. So first, we will add ball movement and bouncing around, the wall bounces of the ball. And next, we will also add the interaction of the ball with the paddles, that is collision detection with the paddles. And finally, we will also be adding a simple scoring system to our game. So by the end of this episode, you'll have a fully playable Pong match, and let's jump right in. Okay, let's open up our project folder from our previous episode and we'll open our main.lua file in this. And this is the code from our previous episode, and we'll make some changes inside love.load since we have already included the code for the paddle movements in love.update. So inside love.load, up here, actually below our ball table, we'll include the initial speed for the ball. So ball.dx will equal to 200, and you can consider this the horizontal speed, and ball.dy will equal to 200 as well. This will be the vertical speed. Now in our game we want the ball to move, right? And to do that we need to control how fast it travels horizontally and vertically. Here ball.dx stands for delta x, basically how much the ball's x position changes every second. And since we set ball.dx to 200, it means that the ball moves 200 pixels per second along the x-axis. And similarly, ball.dy is for the y-axis. It's how fast the ball moves up and down. And later inside love.update, we will multiply these speeds by dt so that the ball moves smoothly and consistently no matter how fast the computer is. So we have loaded the speed of our ball. Let's make it move inside love.update. So for moving our ball, let's say move ball, ball.x should increase by ball.x plus our ball.dx times dt. After that we'll use ball.y equals ball.y plus ball.dy times dt, and that's about it. Now let's open our game and let's see how it moves. See, so it is moving, but it is moving diagonally and it is going off screen and not regenerating at all. So right now the ball moves diagonally in a straight line, and in order to make it not go off bounds, let's make it bounce off the walls. So for our bouncing all the walls logic, let's go to our code once again, and inside love.update, let's define a condition. If our ball.y is less than or equal to 0, that is our starting position of the upper bound, then we'll do ball.y equals 0, and in order to reverse its direction we'll do ball.dy, our speed, will turn it into minus ball.dy. Now what this will do is if it was going up, it will change the direction of the ball and it will go down. So ball.dy. But else if our ball.y plus ball.size were to be greater than or equal to our maximum height, that is our 600, the bottom of the screen, then we'd have to reverse its direction once again. So we'll set our ball's position to equals to 600, but in order to show the whole ball to account for its size as well, we'll subtract ball.size. And after that we'll do ball.dy equals, once again, if it bounces or if it hits the lower bound, we have to make it bounce off in the opposite direction. So we'll change its direction. So minus ball.dy. Now that is it for our bouncing logic. Now we haven't accounted for our left and right sides. We have accounted for our upper and lower bounds. So let's see if our code is working. You can see that our ball, our Pong ball, is bouncing off the wall. So once again, yes, it is bouncing off the wall. So that is successful for now. Now whenever the ball hits the top or bottom edges, we reverse its vertical speed and we also clamp its position to avoid visual glitches. Now for the fun part, making the ball bounce off the paddles. Now to check for the collision with a paddle, we have to create our own function called local function check collision, and we'll define our ball and paddle for our parameters. Now if you don't know about collision detection, we're going to be using the basic AABB, which stands for axis aligned bounding box collision detection, and we have a separate video on this channel on episode, I forgot the episode number, it was maybe 8. Yeah, you can go check that out, link will be in the description. I have described about how this logic works. Right now I'll just be writing the code. So return, it will return true if 4 conditions are fulfilled. So ball.x and paddle.x plus ball.x position should be less than paddle.x plus paddle.width. This basically means the right edge of our paddle, and so ball.x plus ball.size should be greater than paddle.x, and ball.y should be less than paddle.y plus paddle.height, and ball.y plus ball's size, that is its width, should be greater than or equals to, actually you can add equals to in all of these in order to have better collision detection. So equals to, equals to, equals to, actually this should be less than or equals to, and that's better. Now after that we'll do paddle.y and then end. Oh, I didn't mean to use curly braces, I forgot. Now this is our function for checking our collision. Now inside love.update we can check for our collision. So if check collision, let's say ball and player 1, then we would have to prevent overlap. So ball.x equals player 1.x value plus player's width. So in order to prevent the overlap and just hit the ball at the paddle, we are adjusting the ball's position after our ball has collided with our paddle. So we are adjusting this for preventing overlap. And next, in order to bounce the ball in the opposite direction, we'll do what we did with the walls, that is we'll reverse the ball's direction. So ball.x, dx. And in order to increase the difficulty as the game goes on, we'll multiply the speed of our ball slightly. You can even change these values to increase the difficulty. So this will be to bounce and to speed up lightly. Now for our second paddle, we'll apply the same logic. So this will be player 2. And in order to use this, we actually have to define this above love.update. Now this will be in use. Okay, you can see. Now after that, we'll do player 2 and player 2 once again. And in this case, we'll subtract the ball's size. So not player 2, but this will be accounting for our ball's size. And that is about it. It should bounce off our paddles now. Now let's test our code and see if our paddles are working well. Okay, so our paddles are going off bound. We have to fix that. But oh my god. Okay, our ball is bouncing off our paddles, so it is successful. You can see that it's working quite well. Okay, I just missed that, but you get the gist. Now, you might have noticed that when our ball goes off bounds, the game just kind of stalls because the ball is off bounds and you cannot play anymore since it doesn't respawn. Now we'll fix that by keeping track of our player's score, and for that we'll have to develop a reset ball function which resets the ball's position and starts the game again once one of the players scores. So we'll be doing just that. And for that we will have to initialize the scores inside love.load at first. So we'll do score1. This will be the player 1 score. So score1 equals 0 and score2 will equal to 0. And after that, inside love.update, you know what, before using love.update, let's form a function called reset ball. So local function reset ball, and inside this we'll do ball.x equals 400 minus ball.size by 2. This is basically resetting the ball at the center of the screen, and 300 minus ball.size by 2. Now these two lines centered the ball at the center of the screen, but in order to define the moving pattern of the ball, we'll have to define its speed as well. So horizontal speed we'll set 200 once again, but instead of just writing out 200, we'll multiply it by our math.random, so that it does not just go in a singular direction, it randomizes between two directions. So once it respawns, it can either go towards player 1 or player 2. So for that we'll be using math.random. So let's keep this inside parentheses. So math.random will be using 2, so it will be choosing either randomly between the number 1 or the number 2, and if our math.random will equal to 1, we'll use kind of like a ternary operator. It's like an if else. If our random choice is ends up being 1 is equal to 1, we'll return 1. If not, we'll return -1. So it's like that, and or -1. So if it is 1, it'll return a positive value, it'll go towards the right, and if it is 2 in place of 1 or 2, it chooses 2, it will return a negative value, so the direction of our ball will be reversed and it will go towards left. So that is the basic gist, and we'll basically copy this line but for our y position value. So y, and we're good. That is basically our reset ball function. End. Now we'll be using this function inside our love.update. Inside our love.update, we'll do if ball.x plus our ball.size is less than 0, that is, it goes off bounds, then we will increase the score of our player 1. So score 1. Actually wait, it should be score 2, I'm sorry, since if it goes off bounds here, the player 2 has scored. So score 2 plus 1, and after that we'll reset our ball. So reset ball. And as for scoring by our player 2, so I mean player 1, if say else if our ball.x is greater than 800, that is, it goes off bounds here on the right side of the screen, and then we'll increase the score 1. So score 1 plus 1, and then reset ball, and that's it. Now let's see our code for Pong. Okay, it is resetting, but our score is not being drawn on our screen. So our player score value is updating, and oh my god, okay, and the ball is resetting, but now we have to draw those scores onto our screen, and we'll be doing just that. Now for drawing the scores inside love.draw, we'll be including some code. Now first we'll include local score font. So let's select a font for our score. Score font equals love.graphics dot new font, and then 40, and love.graphics dot set font will do score font. After that we'll actually draw our scores. So love.graphics dot print score 1, and let's say it's at 350, and for our score 2 we'll draw that at, first of all let's slide score 2, and we'll draw that at 470. That is on the right side of our game window, and let's say the Y position is same. Now you'll see the scores update whenever someone misses the ball, and you can tweak its positioning or center them later using get width for more precision. Now finally let's check our code once again. You can see that the scores will update now. So okay, let's miss on purpose. Okay, it is. Now we do have to clamp these paddles onto our game window, and we'll be doing that in the next episode, but this is it for our episode. So you can see that the scores are updating and the game is resetting as well, and it is resetting randomly, okay, 3 times in a row for this, and you can see that the directions are, see, it just went there. So this is it for today's episode. In the next episode we'll be polishing our game by adding a win condition, a restart condition, and some sounds and a little bit of tweaks as well. So don't forget to like the video if you found the video helpful, subscribe to our channel if you don't want to miss these videos, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss it. And until then, we'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you.